Literally, I don't know if I shared this with you, but it gave me goosebumps. Like I was literally emotional listening to you talk, and I wish we had recorded that conversation. So if we capture a small portion of that here, is going to make my day. Again, you made my day last week. You'll make my day again. So
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it was a great conversation, and definitely happy to continue it today.
yeah, incredible. Okay, so for those that don't know, Sven has been, we've been working together. He's been one of our HOP90 participants, and I sent him three questions. So I'm going to ask him these three questions. I don't know how he's going to answer, what he's going to answer, but I hope this goes well because we're live. All right. And you're going to do great. You're going to kill it. I love this. Okay, so my first question is pretty simple, man. What made you join the HOP90? What was going on in your life, and what got you to join?
Yeah, so I'll start off by answering, what do I define as life, right? And not to get too philosophical, but
No,
for
I
me,
love it.
for me personally, I break life into different components or elements. One is my relationship with my family and my friends. One is my relationship with my partner. There's my career. There's financial goals. There's personal development, skill development, and growth. And then there's health and wellness. So I would say for the last few years, a majority of those components have been going extremely well.
Awesome.
The one that was always very up and down was the last component around health and wellness. So the journey with the HOP90 program really started probably about a year ago, in March of 2020, which is when COVID kind of started. That's when things started to shut down, and we started to go into this world that we know very well now. At the time, some elements of that life were new to me. Not being able to go out and just see the people that you see or do the things that you normally do. Some elements I was used to, like working from home. I have a sales job where I predominantly work from home, so that element wasn't particularly challenging. But what I found was over the next few months, really over the course of probably about 6 months, I started to develop these really bad habits around eating, namely eating too much, not necessarily eating the right things, and then also with movement, or I should say lack of movement and exercise. So really it was kind of this perfect storm for all of that to happen because I was, I guess, relatively stressed out. That ended up that led to me sort of eating foods in excess and over consuming calories, and I essentially ballooned in weight. And COVID in that sense was a bit of a blessing because I could basically stay at home in my sweatpants, not go outside and not have to see people, and not really feel ashamed of how I looked or felt. And then in about like late summer, so like August, early September, it dawned on me that I was going to be turning 30 in March of this year, 2021. And my initial thought or feeling was of worry. And when I really thought about that in more detail, I tried to understand what actually led to that worry. And what I found was that I didn't feel like I was the best version of myself, and I was going to be turning 30 and not really being the person that I want to be or truly felt that I could be. And really, it was the main driver of that was this was the lack of results or lack of framework, structure, discipline, whatever you want to call it, around health and wellness, food, nutrition, exercise, all that kind of stuff. So in September, I actually reached out to one of my very close friends who's a personal trainer, and we started training together. And every 3 months or so, we do kind of like a quarterly check-in. We had set some goals and things to measure and track. And it was going well on the training side. However, on the body composition side, things actually felt like they were going in the opposite direction.
Wow.
And yeah, and really it was challenging too because I was like for someone my size. So at the time I weighed around like 216, 217. for someone my size, I was supposed to be consuming about 2,100 to 2,000 calories a day. I was on 1,800 calories and not losing any weight whatsoever. And over the course of 2020, I developed this belief that there are certain foods that we should be eating and there's certain foods that we shouldn't be eating. And they're not necessarily the like healthy or unhealthy foods as we categorize them, but more so just foods that agree with you or don't agree with you. And you should eat the ones that do agree with you, and vice versa with the ones that don't. And so I had worked with a naturopath, did some food sensitivity tests just to kind of understand which foods, does spike my insulin quite a bit, and tried to do some stuff around removing those foods and seeing how I felt. And I just found that process was a little bit challenging because I didn't really have the processes and structures in place to succeed in sticking with that particular diet, right? So of course, after 2-3 weeks of heavy dieting, you tend to go off the rails a little bit. And as with most of the diets that I've tried, that's what ended up happening. So roll around to January of 2021. One of the things, you can actually see it in the background, it's a vision board that my girlfriend and I put together. But one of the things that we do and at the beginning of January we kind of do a review of the previous year, see how we did against our goals, and just kind of recap the year, and then we set some goals for the upcoming year. So for this year, obviously 2021, and we kind of break it out into the different categories that I mentioned at the start of the call. So of course I had set some goals for health and wellness, for for exercise, for body weight, body composition, all that kind of stuff, and making them smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and having a time frame around them. And I realized, through this process around trying to improve, the health and wellness component, that the nutrition side of things was really lacking. So this is the first kind of moment of awareness where I was like, I need to change something. The second moment where I realized that was actually one of the Facebook Lives that you had done with Coach Holly came up on my feed, and I was watching it, and I think the topic it just hit home completely. The topic was something like, why you might be eating the right foods but not getting the results, right? Mm-hmm. And really that topic captured many different components, right? It was about the foods that you're eating. It was about, you might be training in a certain way and doing the right things but not getting the results. And that particularly hit home with me because I thought I was doing the right things. I was training, 2-3 times a week, doing strength training, consuming very low calories, and nothing was happening. And so the third component was then I had set up a call. At that moment, I was like, all right, you know what? Like, I need to do something. I had been following you, we've stayed connected since we previously worked together, been following you on all your social media channels. I was aware of HOP90. I started doing some research on the website and being like, okay, you know what? Like this seems like something that I'm very interested in. And then we did that kind of like introductory call, and I had a million questions for you. And I just came out of that call feeling like, you know what, this is really something that's going to work for me. And I think it's important to note that what I got from that call was an understanding of the program being very holistic, right? It's not just about nutrition and eating. It's about taking all of these different elements, whether that's mindset, whether that's stress management, whether that's improving your sleep, whether that's supplementation, kind of rolling them into this one package and program that essentially helps you optimize your hormones and operate at a very high performing level. And that was something that appealed to me greatly. And so then, we had that intro call, and I think the program started like Jan 22nd or something, and I think we talked like Jan 19th or Jan 20th. It was like a few days before.
In a couple of days, yeah.
And so that was like, I was basically like 95% sold. And really what brought home the other 5% was actually you, Devor. And, we had worked previously together at a prior company. And I just remember seeing, how you were right? Like we had a gym at the in our building, and I remember seeing you at lunchtime. There was always this like element of like stoicism with you, where it was like hat down, sweater, hoodie on, music, headphones on, eyes down, don't talk to me while I work out. I'd always, we'd cross paths during lunch, and I'd see you have your Tupperware of asparagus and Brussels sprouts and stuff. So I'm a very strong believer of learning from people who have done the things that I want to do. So I saw you as a very credible role model to learn from, and that essentially, for me to reach out and pursue this path, it was a huge element of trust went into it, and so knowing that I was going to be learning from someone like you was really what solidified the deal for me, and essentially that's how I came to joining the program.
Incredible, man. I remember that the intro call, and I remember getting off that call and thinking, wow, I really hope he joins, because man, this is going to be an incredible ride if he does. And I remember being so happy when you responded to that email, because I just, you had said a couple things to me that I knew how badly you wanted to change. I knew how you're so analytical, and how you were trying, and you were doing all the things that people think they have to do, which is eat less and exercise more. And you were not getting those results, which then that lights me up, because I'm like, I want to help. I want to be part of this journey. I want to be there for this ride. And I'm so grateful you decided to join. And kind of leads me right into my next question with, since joining, can you share what have you noticed? What's different now? Share your results from the program.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll say I'm on day 82 or 83 of the 90-day program, so close to the end. And honestly, it's been an incredible experience. It's been a lot of fun, challenging at times, but I'm very, very happy when I look back at the over the last 80, 90 days, and just kind of see what I've been able to accomplish. I'd say the first thing that I really developed was a different perspective and relationship with food. That was one of the things that I told you I wanted to improve on, was just looking at food in a different way. I felt like before it was just about sustenance, and I felt like you had to eat something just so you can have energy. Whereas now it's very much about healing. It's about nutrition and nutrients. It's about gratitude and expressing that when you're eating foods in certain ways. And so even that has just like fundamentally changed the way that I interact with food and think about food. You go to the grocery store, and you look at foods in a different way. So that's something that I'm really happy with in terms of something that I've learned. Another thing as well, I'm probably going to list off like 10 things, by the way, but another thing is just like processes and structures around eating food, right? So how do you build your plate? How do you eat your food? Expressing gratitude beforehand, small little things like, trying not to watch TV when you're eating, those types of things have been really, really helpful for me, because even just kind of like structuring like your meals and how you do that throughout the day. The thing that I really liked about the program is that, it's both regimented and structured, but also flexible when it needs to be. And I know, that's something that really played well into my hands, because I like structure and routine, but there were certain times where I had to kind of pivot, and it really allowed for that. So that was something that was nice. And I think even just kind of as an addition to that, being able to if you're out and about, if you don't have your planned meal or your meal prepped and available, just making better decisions about food and what to eat and when to eat it has really helped a lot. Just because you obviously try and plan out your meals and try and plan when you're going to eat, but life happens, and sometimes you're going to have to kind of call an audible and make an adjustment. And it's given me the confidence to know that I can make the right decisions around food and continue doing the right thing. Another thing as well is just the mindset. And it's not even just mindset around food, it's mindset around becoming the person that you want to be. That's something that's, I mean, we could probably do a whole nother live session on that in and of itself. That's something that really resonated strongly with me because of the fact that the only regret that I have in life from when I was younger is that I didn't try harder. I didn't try harder in school. I didn't try harder in sports. I didn't try harder with my family. And that really drives me today to become a better person and really to answer the question of what is my truest potential? What can I actually become? And so that mindset piece really played nicely into my fundamental beliefs and the things that are driving me today. And I remember you know, you have a really great way of kind of explaining the mindset piece. And I think, you know, you use the term like woo woo, like it's not about like, you know, this whole like woo woo approach. It's very, it reminds me of something that a high performance athlete would do, or high performing people would do. You know, creating this identity based goal where you're connecting every single day with this idea or this vision of who you want to be. And what was nice was, you know, at first it kind of started off about, you know, nutrition and making the right decisions, but I even quickly expanded my identity based goal to start including many other elements, and it's now gotten to a point where it you know, covers all of the things that are important to me. And it's something that you know, that I resonate with and spend time thinking about every single day. Another thing that I learned is just about movement, right? And notice that I say movement and not exercise, because movement itself is, there's so many different elements to it. So before, like, I genuinely hated exercising. Like, even, you know, at our previous company, like I just felt like I had to do it because, you know, I was in the industry and, you know, I wanted to, you know, everyone else was doing it, but, you know, it wasn't always something that I enjoyed doing. And I would say, you know, over the last year or two, minus the last 80, 90 days, like movement and exercise were very, very limited in my kind of in my day to day. And with when COVID happened and whatnot, it became even more challenging to move and more annoying, I'll say, to really, you know, exercise and challenge myself. Whereas now my perspective has changed to the point where I look forward to my training sessions. I look forward to whatever type of movement is involved in the day. It could be something as simple as going for an hour-long walk. It could be, you know, a 20-minute HIIT session. It could be an hour-long training session with my friend. It's now turned into, you know, what can my body do? Like, how far can I push it? And what are the things that I can now achieve that I couldn't necessarily achieve last week? So, you know, that has been a tremendously welcome perspective that I've now gained. I would say another thing too is just, you know, body composition and body changes, right? You notice that, I think it's important to note that this is like the fifth thing that I've mentioned in terms of results. It wasn't the first. And, you know, a big part of this program is not about, you know, hey, let's lose 20 pounds in 20 days doing some extreme stuff. It's really not even about the weight loss, to be honest. It's just a very, very welcome benefit that comes along with it. So when I started the program, I was, I think, like 215 or 216, weighed in this morning at 197. And just, and it's important to know, like, you know, that's all great. Like, I obviously, like, I feel amazing. I look a lot better, you know, clothes fit better, kind of the typical things that you hear from, you know, those traditional weight loss programs when people lose weight or whatever. But it's nice because it actually instills confidence in you, right? Confidence that you've been able to stick with something for so long, confidence that you can actually do it, confidence that it works. And even just kind of within that, you know, there was a lot of really interesting and important things that I learned. I remember there was one week where, I wasn't really I wasn't really dropping weight. I wasn't really seeing results. And there's something that we learn in the program called the Valley of Disappointment. And it's basically this idea of just, you're going to have to go through the mud before you can really see the rainbow on the other side of the hill. And, even just going through that process, learning to love the process and stuff like that, that was it was so much fun, honestly. Like, although it was frustrating, I learned to kind of turn that frustration into something positive. And then the last thing that I'll say in terms of like results is I feel like I've gained the confidence to be able to do really anything. I think the fact that, I've stuck with this now for 83 days. Not every day was perfect, but I can honestly say that out of I was compliant for a majority of those 83 days. It just feels really good to know that I was able to stick with something that's, challenging. It wasn't necessarily easy at times, but, proving to yourself that you can actually do it, sticking with it, that plays a huge, huge part in your confidence. And I think that then expands to other elements of life, right? If you're wanting to learn a new skill, you're wanting to improve in some kind of way, just knowing what this process was like and kind of going through this over the 90 days and utilizing that as a framework for change in other areas of your life. It doesn't have to be health and wellness. It could be, any type of, personal development, skill growth, whatever it may be. So a lot of really, really great results with this program.
Amazing, incredible. I got to tell you, man, this is why I was getting emotional last week. I'm going to get emotional again today. My favorite part of all of that was where you did that to me last week too, where we went through all these incredible wins, and then as we're getting off the phone, you said, "Oh yeah, and by the way, I weigh under 200 pounds now, and I haven't weighed that much in X number of years." And that, again, a lot of individuals reach out or join the program with weight loss as their main goal, and they want to know about nutrition. And yeah, that's fine. We're going to give you all of that. But I think that's been a key thing for me as a younger coach back in the day. Was the mistake that I made was just handing people meal plans and saying, just follow this, and then getting frustrated when they wouldn't, and learning failures. And then you brought up something interesting, because I've never shared this with anyone before, but all of this mindset work came from my work with high performing athletes. And then I started to say, what if, because some of them, their mindset can be very fragile, right? And there are some days where I'd show up and I could tell they just, hey, today's mindset day, because you're not in a place to train, right? Or they don't perform well on the field or on the mat or whatever it is. And then, I need to get their mindset back to a good place. What if I start applying that to everyone else? And I'll tell you, people think they're coming for the nutrition, but when we can shift that mindset, that's when the real magic happens. So no, that's incredible, man. Thank you for sharing that. So I guess the last question, because I know you're pressed for time, but the last question, what's next for you? Where are you taking this? What are you excited about for beyond the 90 days?
Yeah, so I think it's important to note that this is a journey, not a destination. So, oftentimes, with goals that have a certain endpoint, the question is what happens after that. And so one of the things that I really like about the program is it focuses less on those types of goals and more on, who you want to be as a person. And so for me, essentially, the journey is going to continue, forever. I remember, also being in this program, you have a lot of Stoic philosophies that are kind of interspersed in the lessons and teachings, and that's kind of prompted me to do some external reading and learning about it. And I remember there was one post talking about how one of the Stoic philosophies of just constantly learning and developing your entire life to the point where you never become the person that you think you're going to become, because you're always learning and improving. So for me, definitely you know, it doesn't stop at the 90 days. I mean, we're at 83, 82, 83 days. So there's only a few days left in the program. But I'm just really excited to kind of be able to say that I've stuck with something for, you know, for a very long time. I mean, at this point, it's completely become my my lifestyle. Like, there's been a few times where we've gone grocery shopping and we've forgotten our grocery list, but we already know what we're getting, right? We already know we're getting our you know, our veggies and all that great stuff. So for me, I'm, you know, like I said, it's a journey, not a destination, and I'm just excited to see where that journey takes me next.
Incredible. Yeah, no, man, listen, it's been awesome working with you. I know we still have a little bit to go, and I can't wait. That's what often I say in the program and to the other coaches and to our members. And I say, I don't really care so much about your before and after pictures, because yeah, those are great. I mean, listen, congrats on all the weight that you've lost. Like, that is impressive what you've done in this program. What's more impressive for me will be when we continue to talk and check in, and I hear from you in 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, and you get even better, which, to your point, and that's the way that I say it every morning. I wake up and I you know, I do my process. I do the things that I know is going to bring me closer to being the man that I admire, right? So what do I admire about certain people? I try and emulate those qualities. But the beautiful thing that's happened is, over the years, you know, as I've gotten better, that man that I'm striving to be, he's also gotten better. So to your point, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, right? That was beautiful, man. Incredible. Yes, very well said. Listen, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing that with people. I needed to get that out because, like I said, like, I could not stop smiling after our last call last week, and that's going to be the rest of my day today too. So hopefully a whole lot of people hear this, and you've inspired them too. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I hope so too. And, you know, appreciate you and the coaches as well. I feel like you guys have really created a community of like-minded people who are very positive and supportive, and honestly made this transition easy. So I have all of you to thank for where I'm at as well.
Incredible. Incredible. Awesome. All right, man. I'll let you get back at it. I thank you for your time. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Sven.
Sounds good. Cheers, Devor.